Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. My name's Anthony. I'm an addict and an alcoholic, another bozo on the bus, and I care about you.
And I'm LouiLou. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm recovered for crystal meth and alcohol. And each week we strive to foster a brave space where we can engage in conversations centered around topics of recovery.
And our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for more people in recovery by tackling issues sometimes used to separate us.
Yes, but before we do that, please like, share, make sure you subscribe to whatever channels you check us out on.
Yeah, subscribe, ding that bell.
And then share the episode.
Share the episode, leave comments. And now the disclaimer, the thoughts and opinions expressed on At the CCC are ours alone. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. In other words, we're just a couple of friends behind a mic here to entertain you. Wow, we just landed that plane. So for folks listening, for the first time in a very long time, we have Brandon behind the production table.
I know. Brandon's been like, oh, hell no, I don't do this anymore.
Brandon was like, podcast what?
Yeah, my pay grade. It's like,
he's like,
is it above or below? Like,
he's like, what am I doing?
It's like, I was not hired for this shit.
I'd rather kick rocks. That's what he said.
Can't we find AI to do this?
Right.
AI. Louis, how are you?
I am good, except for I have been sick all week. I had whatever bug was coming around, but there was one bright spot. I lost 10 pounds. I hopped on a scale. I was 190. I haven't been 190 in like 100 years. I was like, 10 pounds is 10 pounds.
I've also been sick. This is like my first time out of bed. In 4 days, I got sick on Wednesday, and then I was down Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I finally started to feel better.
Oh my God. So check this out. On Facebook, and you don't have this problem because you're not on, but okay, so there's this guy, nice enough, sends me a Facebook friend request. I look at the people that he knows, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, he's probably like someone in recovery or whatever.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I accepted it. Nice enough. And he's been hitting me up on instant message, and he's been really intense conversations, and it finally went to the other side. Like I got nude pictures and everything.
Oh, wow.
Like, but he's all, I told him I was sick. Do you want me to come over and feed you chicken soup or whatever? And
that's what he said to you?
But it wasn't sweet. It was aggressive.
Oh.
And I don't think I'm like, unless we have a regular connection, I don't do aggressive very well.
Yeah.
If this is the first time we're meeting and you're coming on that strong, it turned me off.
He saw like you were like part of a pack of wolves, and like you were the weak one that got away from the pack.
Must have been. I was shot and limping, and I couldn't and honestly, it's like he lives in Arizona, so I think he's probably like, oh, girl, shit's dry out there.
Oh no.
Yeah, or
that's too bad.
Yeah,
do you feel discouraged by this?
No, not at all.
That someone's kindness was a veiled attempt at getting in your pants?
Not at all, because this is not the first time that it's happened.
Oh.
Like for me, I like it when you come out of the gate that way, so that I can make a decision.
Yep.
But don't give me the impression that we can have, because if you're not in the same city that I'm at.
Yeah. You told me about this.
We're not having these kind of conversations about sex.
Right.
Are you going to be here anytime soon, or am I planning to go visit you? Because I don't do phone sex. I don't do phone sex. I don't do role play. These things are just to get in the way of what I came for. Or what I'm. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Yeah, they're just like, come on. It's like, what are we? Like, he wanted me to describe what kind of poses you want me to. Bitch, I don't want to tell you what kind of poses I want. It's like, whatever. It's like,
is this a photo shoot?
Yeah, it's like whatever. It's like, am I the creative director? No. Just send me some pictures. I'll tell you what I think, It's like, because.
Would you have been more responsive if he would have just sent nudes without. Like unsolicited news?
Absolutely. I would have been like, thank you.
Okay.
I've been like, thank you, because I have no problem when you send them. But if you ask me what you used to send first, I'm going to tell you to send me money. Send me fucking money, okay? That's crazy. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Well, because I know that some people get off on being directed like that or told or whatever.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you need to tell me that that's what you're doing, because it was not just... do you think you might be interested? No, it was aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm all thinking, this makes me think I wouldn't even want to be around you in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
And so this person lives in Arizona, you said?
Thank God. He used to live here. So it's like apparently, like I was looking
you keep, the more descriptors you give, the more narrow it becomes.
No. Well, it's not narrow. I thought I recognized.
Brandon is on his phone.
I thought I recognized him. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why another part of that. But then I was thinking, okay, no, whatever. It's all good.
That's too bad. Or too good. I don't know.
No, maybe it's
you're like, people think I'm so sexy.
No, that's not it.
No.
No,
I mean, well, he did think you were sexy otherwise.
That could be it. And what it's doing is it's really kind of, it's another step in me kind of determining what I like and what I don't like,
Of course.
I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Of course.
But I'm not fooled enough to think that I am.
Do you see Brandon?
It's probably not that hard to figure out if you look at my Facebook.
I mean, the sober gay community is so small. It's such a small.
It's small, and also, it's like I'm just not into guys who like are very particular about like the guys that they're into.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about if you only like black guys.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. I got it. Like being fetishized.
Yeah. I would rather you just not say anything. That's okay. Because you can have that, but you don't have to sing it out. Sing out, Louise. Sing it. Tell the story.
I'm okay. You
don't sound like Cookie Monster. He said, I'm going to probably sound like Cookie Monster.
I do sound like Cookie Monster.
No, you don't. So how are you doing?
I'm okay.
I was working my way to that.
Oh, no, it's fine.
But I thought
you have to take care of yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I got really good news the other day. I got offered a postdoc interview with a site that I'm really excited about.
And that's in...
I don't want to say.
Okay, but
it's on the East Coast.
Is it one of those situations where I commented on the thing and then you said, well, you're really not supposed to talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you need to say this ahead of time because I'm all excited for you.
Yeah, it's on the East Coast. I am very excited.
Okay.
I feel like the future that I'm envisioning for myself is really taking shape. I want to continue to work in addiction and I want specialized training.
Home?
Well, I do, I have been thinking, I do see myself back on the East Coast. I was just there. I don't know if I told you this, but I went back to Pennsylvania last weekend and I was there for 1.5 days.
Nice. That's probably why you enjoyed it.
Well, can I tell you? Louis? Okay. So where to begin? What is this?
Oh, that's
is that a dancer?
It's a dancer. Yeah.
Okay. So
sorry, my phone was open. It's so easily distracted. Squirrel, squirrel.
So this is in line with today's topic. So today's topic is chosen family.
Absolutely.
And, chosen family. And for context, the reason why we're talking about chosen family is because for a lot of us during the holidays, either you were not connected to our like biological or immediate families, or we've been. What's the word I'm looking for? When you're, gosh, I can't believe it. It's escaping.
Banished.
Banished or like,
we've been
estranged.
Kicked off the island. Estranged is a very thoughtful way of saying it.
Yeah, estranged, from your family. And so, the LGBT plus community, we think back to like the houses in New York City, and we think about the ballroom scene. Yeah,
you need to say it clearly because some of our listeners don't know. It's like
so I'm thinking
the houses. What houses?
Well, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about the ballroom scene and just in general the queer community has been very good about. When we didn't have our own families, we formed our chosen families, right? And I think that's we were talking about this, you and I, about how important it is to kind of like shift our focus, especially during the holidays when there's like family drama and we don't feel connected, etc. So this is in line with that.
Yeah.
So I went back home. We were celebrating my grandmother's 80th birthday. And just as an aside, so it was a surprise birthday for her, right? Okay.
Is it a good idea to have a surprise party for an 80-year-old?
The worst fucking idea.
Yeah.
The worst idea. So she came in. So first off, she wasn't expecting me or my sister to be there. She hasn't seen my sister in over 10 years. Wow. She hasn't seen me in a few years. So already, right? So 80-year-old woman walking into a huge hall you have over 50 people yelling surprise.
Oh my God.
She literally starts convulsing. Her legs are shaking. She's like, can't control herself. And then they're like, act 2. And then they asked me to come out with my sister. And then she's like sobbing and shaking. And so they have to get her a chair. Like, she doesn't even get to enter the hall completely because she's like damn well near going to collapse. They put a chair underneath her and she sits there. And so she had to sit in front of the doorway for like 20 minutes before she could come in.
Oh my God.
So to your point, no, it's not a good idea to surprise an 80-year-old woman. My cousin says, I don't think we thought this through. He's like, maybe it isn't a good idea to surprise an 80-year-old woman with a heart condition.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, but so I was back home, and
it would be a brilliant scheme if you're trying to get to the
inheritance.
Yes, exactly.
That's so stupid. That's so stupid. But I was there, and it was a really good time, and it was also in such a short amount of time, I was like thrusted into like family drama.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was outside of it for most of it, but then I caught some stray bullets and I was like, what, how did this happen?
It doesn't that's weird. Cause normally my family, I feel like there's a level of grace for that first day. And then after that, the masks are off.
Yeah. And it's crazy because it happened with one of my cousins that I'm closest to, he, and I could see it. It's a lot of it is like trauma. A lot of it is like mental health stuff going on. And I get it, but I was like, wow, like I never thought it would come from him. I never thought like I would catch a stray bullet from him.
Do you feel like being in the position that you are, your chosen occupation,
yeah,
that even if it's family, you have a little more compassion when you see it happening, or is it that you are
so? That's a really good question. I think I'll tell you what, like a clinical supervisor told me a few years ago. Her name's Michael Ann Baker. She works at Alliance Health Project, Dr. Michael Ann Baker, and she said, Anthony, you have to allow yourself to be human, right? And for example, like when I go home, like I do have some compassion and I do have some grace, but I'm still a fucking human. I'm still going to have reactions, right? I think just because I have like clinical training doesn't mean that I become like a doormat for people's emotional baggage. I mean, I had a breaking point today. Actually, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who I felt punished me over it's a long story. And, he called basically like asking for an apology. It's a long story.
I love that Real Housewives drama. I'm calling because I need an apology.
Yeah. It's quite the story. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Say, are you listening?
Yeah. No, actually, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
I forgot what I was talking about.
I'm sorry.
There was my cousin.
No, you're talking about the friend that the fallout.
So I didn't have a fallout. So this friend had certain expectations about an event, and your question was, and I'm coming back to this, like just given like my background, like do I have more grace or whatever? I think like I do think that there are cases where like I have certain skills that most people like. I think for starters, I don't think that I have skills that other people don't have, right? Like I think the only difference in certain cases is that maybe I'm making a decision that they're not making, but like I don't think that I possess any skill that we don't all already have, right? And that's something a supervisor told me years ago. She was like, Anthony, everything you need to know, you already know. It's in your body. It's like, so the answer is like, yes, and I'm still allowed to get angry. I'm still allowed to be like disappointed and hurt. And I had a moment like that earlier today where I was like, I'm not people's emotional punching bag. Sometimes I feel like I can be too nice, and because I'm a nice and like warm person generally, I think, I don't know, I've had experiences where I feel like people feel like they can say or do whatever they want.
I feel like that day when I had the meltdown, I saw in you recognized what was going on with me. And when I was not, when I reached my point, you were like, okay, we're not doing this, and I appreciate that. Because it was embarrassing, but it was necessary. It's one of those things where it's like, if I can't have this experience around people that I trust so that I can work on it, because I have a tendency, if I'm not careful, to hold things in. Yeah. And I hold them in, and then I punish you in ways that, like, it's a thing to say, drinking poison. Like, silent scorn is my big thing. I will punish you without you knowing that I'm punishing you. And then you're like, wonder, what the fuck's...
You know what you're making me think of is that with chosen family, you're still going to have issues.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Like, I think especially in the recovery community, right? Like, we're very fortunate here because at the Castro Country Club, for example, we have, did you go to Thanksgiving?
I did.
Did we talk about Thanksgiving?
Yeah, well, let's talk about it.
Oh, well, I'm so obsessed with the candied yams that were there. It was Jugal's mom, right? Oh my God, the best candied yams in my life. But I think about like events like that, right? Like that is our community. This is our sober community. And I think community is a big part of what keeps us in recovery.
No, absolutely.
It helps us keep us sober. It's not exclusively, but it helps, right? That being said, like, and that in a lot of ways, chosen family, if you're in 12-step or any kind of like recovery based community, that you're still going to have issues with chosen family. I think in reflecting on like what happened that day, I mean, like, I have to believe that everything unfolds the way it's supposed to unfold, right? Like, and when I think back at that situation, I was also exercising something, right? Because, like there was hostility from you, and I was just transported back in time where I was like with my family, and my family, like my dad was so violent, and there was so much stuff like that in my household. And I can remember being a little kid and feeling defenseless. Like there was nothing I could say or do because, my dad's being violent, and like there was nothing I could do. And I there was a moment there where I felt like... I promise
I'll never hit you.
No, my dad, that's a whole thing.
No, I would hit Brian, but it's like...
Yeah. But, so I had a moment there where I was like... where I felt myself freeze up a little bit, and then I stopped and I'm like, no, I'm an adult. Like, I don't have to do this. Yeah. I don't have to be in an environment that's uncomfortable. Like, I don't, and I love you. And so I told, like, I was like, hey, like, what's going on, and the other thing that you're reminding me of is like, and I think the reason why, like, in the end, like, it was salvageable was because that isn't like the majority of our relationship. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it hard with like people's immediate family, right?
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is like, there isn't that like warmth or kindness maybe at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, no. And I was thinking with the chosen family, I think the thing that's nice, there will be conflict, but it almost seems like while you're building this relationship with this said chosen family, they're almost pliable. Like because a conversation that is tough, I can easily have with someone that I'm not related to, as opposed to someone who I have all these years of experience with.
Right.
Because like I have every right to have the conversation with a father, a mother, or whatever, especially if I want that relationship to be solid.
Right.
But all the trauma and everything that comes with that relationship makes it so, and it's not always bad trauma. Do you know what I mean? It's not always bad trauma. It's just everything. Like, like,
well, like trauma with a capital T and trauma with a lowercase T.
Yeah, you know how we put our family on a pedestal or whatever.
Sure.
Like one thing that I never do. I might have shared this before. I don't curse around my father. Very rarely. I didn't do it around my mother. I thought it was just disrespectful. I love to curse. Are you kidding? I like to accent words with everything on the sun. My father curses like nobody's business. Like a sailor, I would not be lost, or it wouldn't be like, I'm 54 years old. I can, but I don't do it. And so like, but I can curse around the chosen family because
of course, like
this is who I am. Maybe what it is I get to be my authentic self. Yeah, and without fear of losing said people, because there's something about. If my birth family turned their back on me, it would feel lonely. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
I feel like even if it was completely the most logical thing to do for me to get away from them, I still need them. Because I always tell my father, like when he asked me if I need anything, you were my reminder that I'm connected to something. That's what I always say. It's like, so it's all good.
I think that's the hard part for me, because I was really hurt by what happened. In the same way that I was like hurt by like this recent friend that, so the situation with this friend is, they had there was an event they hosted, and I wasn't able to show up on time for like personal reasons, none of which I'm going to like talk about on air. Yeah. And their response was to like give me the cold shoulder the entire day, and then it just be very cold toward me. And then, like said they needed time to think about it. And I felt like I was being punished for, like things that were out of my control. And, I spoke with them today, and he was saying that, he said, like, can you see like my point of view, and can you see, like, can you at least apologize? I was like, I'm open to apologizing when I think, something's, when it's like warranted, but I was like, I honest to God think that this was all your creation, like there's nothing for me to apologize for here. And that was really difficult for me, because generally, like, generally I'm like, there's like two sides to every, there's two sides to every conversation. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, no, there's nothing, I didn't do anything wrong here. And I was really hurt by what they did, like that they were cold, that they like kept me waiting, that they've chosen family, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I still, this is still someone that I care about, but like, and maybe this is like my own stuff. It takes me a bit of time to like, I can forgive someone, but like my central nervous system, like I feel like it takes my body a little bit of time to recover.
Yeah. Well,
How about you?
I want to say that I'm sorry, because I realized that my inability to step outside of myself, because it really, it was self-centered fear. It was all of that stuff that had me there. Like, how when you're holding on to something where it's like, it makes sense in your mind to let it go, but I'm all, no, I'm gonna hold on to this as long as I can. Yeah. And I was self-righteous in that moment.
Yeah, I get it. And what I remind myself of is like, my grandmother says this. She's like, today for me, tomorrow for you.
Was she in Rent?
I know, right? Oh shit, that's right. That's right. My 80-year-old grandmother, today for you, tomorrow for me. That's so funny, but she says it in Spanish, and I wonder if that's where it comes from. Yeah, that's so interesting.
It seems to make that's smart.
But the idea is that like, like maybe today I'm off, but tomorrow you'll be off.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's like a bratty part of me that thinks like, well, I don't go around like, and this isn't about you in particular, but there's a bratty part of me that's like, well, I don't go around like yelling at people and throwing things, and
didn't throw anything.
I know, that's what I said.
God damn it.
I specifically said that this wasn't about you in particular.
Okay. Yeah. But I was yelling.
Yeah,
I was yelling because I was yelling, and I wanted to do a drop kick, but not on Anthony.
Yeah, no, I understand. And
we're good now.
That's good.
Because after I left the situation, I blocked him on everything, including Christian Mingle. But he came up while I was sitting on the stairs, and we talked about it. I also realized that when I left the situation, that there was an amends that I need to make to him. I realized that. Because what he was going through, it's kind of the compassion that I was thinking about, because I realized he was in a space, but I did not deal with all the shit that I had to deal with. Yeah. And so, because like I said to you before, if I had been able to process these 3 events and my life period, in the way that I needed to, I would not have reacted, because that's usually not my reaction. Yeah. It's like, because I'm one of those, I'm a Virgo. Like I'm all.
You remind us every episode.
I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't want to. Yeah, I like to control like what people are saying and.
Yeah. And, you know, part of any relationship is like there are going to be ruptures, right? And one of the good things about like fighting and conflict, you know, those things are healthy, especially when you're able to mend reconcile differences, right? Like those kind of experiences deepen relationships, you know, and as long as, you know, the ruptures aren't outweighing, you know, everything else that's happening.
This is like healing. Yeah,
no, of course. Yeah. I mean, ultimately that's what we're talking about, you know? And that's hard. You know, that is hard, you know, like.
It's hard, especially if you don't step out of that kind of, because it would have been so easy for me to just stay in a self-righteous space. Like, I don't do this all the time. God, fuck you. I do what I want. You know, but the truth of it is that also, if I didn't care about everybody that was in that situation, like or the worst is, or the best, when I have a situation that I need to resolve, obviously I want to resolve it right away, but I don't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe we don't live close by. I don't see you all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I have to hold on to that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the good things about chosen family.
Yeah, of course. So the good things of chosen.
Well, you know what? I have friends who remind me of family members that in some ways it's almost like living in means. I get to be in relationship with them in a way that I want to be in relationship with that person that maybe I don't have an opportunity. I'm pretty fortunate. Like there are I have very few family members that I just don't fuck with, you know, and the ones that I just don't fuck with, we just don't fuck with.
Yeah.
You know, actually super interesting.
Tell me.
I have a couple family members that for some reason it's like I've communicated and responded and everything on Facebook and all that stuff with most of my family members. And there's a couple that there's no interaction or whatever. And I was thinking, the other day I was thinking, does that have anything to do with the fact that I'm gay?
Oh, wow.
And you know, it's very possible, but it's also, I don't know. So I don't get to overthink it. And also it's like, it's almost like we're recondoing shit. It's like, if I haven't seen that outfit in a while, then it probably isn't important to me.
Yeah.
It sucks though, but yeah.
Yeah, but to your point, there are positive parts to chosen family because we're like, and another thing.
That's exactly what.
Well, it's so you know, like when you're in family or in community, it's so hard sometimes. Relationships are difficult. Maybe not inherently difficult, but maybe inherently difficult.
Maybe challenging.
Yeah,
challenging seems less kind of painful than difficult.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah.
You think?
I don't disagree with you. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
It's like cookie.
Cookie. Chosen family. It can be very healing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can be very. So I'm thinking about like relationships I have with people in the program that are kind of like Kim S and Leslie. They're like my big sisters.
Well, there's season like when you have this relationship with people that you never have any conflict with. You know, even if there's a slight disagreement, it's just that, a disagreement, and you move on and you still love each other outside of that space. You don't take on the characteristics of whatever that was and make it like
that's hard.
No, it is hard, but there are some people like Kim and Leslie, they're perfect examples of this kind of like always consistent, you know? Because for me, I've always like the people that I appreciate are consistent. Like if you're an asshole to me all the time and then one day you come up and you're nice, I don't fucking trust that. It's like, but
that's fun.
Also, I think it comes down to the work that we do in ourselves.
I don't know why I said that's fun. The work that you do with yourself.
The work that I do with myself, because if I like the 4 agreements, I try not to take anything personally. If I'm spiritually sound and somebody's going through something, I know that they're going through something and it's not me going through something. And usually if I care about you, then I'm going to give you that grace, especially if you allow me to kind of excuse myself. You know how I say, it's like, honey, like we said, okay, we're not doing this, you know, but I could have said, no, I go and block the door.
That's a really good point. Yeah. That's a really good point. Cause I think when I think about my own stuff, like I can relate to, I'm stumbling upon some insight right now. So generally what happens with me is I will also not talk about something in the immediate sometimes. And what are you doing? What? So the Lewis is taking pictures while we're talking. So what happens is like, I'll take the mic is picking it up.
Those are the pictures for Bonnie Violet. Hi, Bonnie.
That's right. She said she wanted pictures of us. Not like this. I'm literally wearing the same sweater in our old footage.
That's not.
And I mean, like our old stuff. I'll just send her pictures from.
Yeah, that's smart.
God, I totally forgot what I was talking about.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't.
You were working
remember.
on something. I was excited.
What I was saying is like sometimes what happens is like I'll let things. I normally will. I have a delayed reaction time because normally like my immediate reaction to any situation is kind of numb. So I will. That's like my defense is like I go numb immediately, and then like I'll process later. But what happens is like sometimes I'll process and then I won't bring it back. Right. And so sometimes I'm just like building up and building up and building up. And then at some point
that's a song. And building up and building up.
Yeah. And then at some point, I'm I like then start to like withdraw a little bit. It takes me a while. It takes me a while to recover.
I understand.
Yeah. And I think that's, but I think part of it takes me a while to recover, which is progress for me because before I got sober, I would just like cut people out, that was my emotional intelligence. My emotional intelligence was like, if I felt slighted, I was done, and then in recovery around chosen family, like I saw people model for me, like, hey, like you can have conflict and you can repair conflict and, and you can have like a healthy relationship after that.
Yeah, with people who are also trying to do the work.
Yeah, and this
wasn't a one-sided thing.
Right, and this is one of the reasons why like I appreciate people who've been in the program for a really long time. So I've been going to meetings in Antioch and Lafayette.
Okay.
And in those meetings, people have like 20 plus years. Like
it's amazing. It's
yeah.
That's it. Like when I'm in the CMA meetings, I usually have a lot more time than most people.
Yeah.
But I like being in the AA meetings a lot of times because just for saying. Now, mind you, to qualify, time does not equal sanity.
No, of course not.
We have a lot of folks that, but it is an amazing thing when you got someone who has 30 plus years and they're still in meetings doing the exact same things, and they're showing you like this can be done because it doesn't change. I mean, this shit doesn't stay fresh. You got to be the person that keeps it like keeps going.
I also, the other thing. You know that thing we say in recovery, like, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? It was a whole episode like a few years ago.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's also like, what? I don't know, right? Because there are ways in which like we might, let me speak for myself. Well, I'm thinking about cults. Yeah. Right. There's a way that like certain behaviors
Are we talking about 12 steps?
Yeah. Well, there's just certain ways that like, like certain behaviors can get normalized because you can form groupthink, right? And so there's a way, for example, that I've noticed in 12 step or in like recovery communities where sometimes it feels like there's a bit of a co-signing of people's like really shitty behavior. Right. And
especially if the person is popular. Popular
and
or attractive.
Well, but the other side of that is so whether or not being right or being happy, right? And I think for me, like when it comes to conflict, I don't know that it's like important for me to be like right or wrong as it is for me to like have harmony in my relationships with people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like life is hard enough.
Yeah. Stephanie was talking about the A step in CMA meeting. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to share about the, I had to go back to work, but I wanted to share about like, I think what's different for me now, and thank God for recovery, is like, I used to be so like, oh God, I don't want any conflict. Don't want any conflict. So I would apologize or I would.
Right.
I would give in. And now I don't have to do that. It's not like I try to extend the whatever. But I try to make sure, and by doing the work, to make sure I know what my part is.
100%. 100. And like, I love what you're saying there, because you could not. Do you smell cigarette smoke or smoke in general? But
we are close to a place where people would probably be smoking.
Yeah, but I'm like, are we on fire?
Do you smell a hamburger? I was like, oh my God! It's like, I wonder
when you're well, see, now I forgot again. This is my own fault.
I was talking about see, I forgot.
That's fine. We have 10 minutes. I know, 10 minutes.
I was talking about knowing why I would apologize.
Oh, right. So I understand, for example, choosing not to have an argument, right? I nonviolent communication, avoiding the argument when you don't need to have it, right? I do think, though, that there does come a time when a person needs to speak up for themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, where you have to choose yourself in a certain situation. Otherwise, you're starting to take on you're starting to take on other people's shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't need that. Like, sometimes it needs to like be externalized. It needs to be put back to where it belongs, which is with the other person. Or hold on one second. The other person, or like the system that created it, right? Yeah. So it and by that I mean, like, we can come back to it, but I just want to say, like, it's not always like a person. Sometimes like that person is reacting to something outside of themselves as well.
Well, what I want to do, and I'm not making an excuse for how I showed up, but I really feel like when you're not used to doing that, when you start doing it, it's messy in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like if it were something that I was like, being able to kind of express what you got going through in a graceful way. It's not graceful ever. Tonight, we were at an event for friends of ours, the White Elephant Party.
Yes.
And I was sitting while we were doing the White Elephant Party of it, and I was looking around and I was thinking, oh my God, there's over 100 years worth of like friendship experience here.
Oh, wow.
Because I was thinking when I came to the room, when I came to San Francisco, I didn't know anybody. And I was thinking, oh my God, because I had turned my back on, I pushed people away, slipped into my bubble and all that good stuff. And now I'm like, on average, like most of the people there had known me at least 10 years, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's wild.
This is amazing. And
that's crazy to me.
These are relationships that are still sustained.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in recovery for over 10 years, I think. Yeah, over 10 years, because I'm 40 now. I started when I was 26. Yeah. And so it's been, I mean, not continuous recovery, but you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's crazy to me because I'm like, I've lived in California now for 20 years. 20 years.
That's wild.
That's wild. That's half of my life. Half of my life has been, and this has been my adult life. Half of my life has been in California. Should we start landing the plane?
Yeah, so the Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
We provide programs and services that help change their lives. There's a typo, I think. Hold on. With the Castro Country Club, we provide programs and services that help change their lives.
Change lives. Just say change lives.
Oh, change lives by supporting personal growth.
Our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community, opportunity, and support.
You can find more information, including all the ways to contact us at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcasts.
Yeah. And look for us wherever you listen to podcasts.
Oh, is this from the transcript?
This is from the transcript.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, okay. It's like, but you didn't have to say it. You just said it, and I'm like, whatever. It's like, I'm all, thanks a lot.
Well, I thought it was funny that it said...
Fucking clown.
All right, sorry. Go ahead. Tell us.